But what I can say, in my own life, employment has never been an issue. And I'm a contractor, by the way, so it's peak. Every 6 months, I'm looking for a new job. Every 6 months, I can potentially have a gap in my earnings. I earn 3 times more now than when I did when I started in banking just over 10 years ago. And I own 4 houses. That's just my personal testimony. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Warren here, helping you to master your money and build long-term wealth. Today we're talking about tithing. We're going to answer a few things. Is it instructed or is it optional? 2, does it even apply today still? Is it an Old Testament thing like women covering their heads in church? And then lastly, I'm going to tell you my personal position and where I personally stand with tithing. By the way, guys, do me a solid by hitting that like button and sharing this video with a friend. My goal is to build a wealth building community on this platform and I need your help to do that. So smash those likes and share. So for those of you who don't know what a tithe is, let's start there. A tithe is a giving of 10% of either your gross or net income to the church. And we're going to come on to why and what the reasons are behind that. But a tithe is actually separate from an offering. They're 2 separate things. So that's what a tithe is. And then also, guys, I want to let you know, for those of you who don't pay tithes and you already feel condemned, let me say up front, tithing isn't a heaven or hell issue, okay?
Message!
There are no scriptures that I've found yet which say that it's mandatory, okay? We'll come on to that further on in this video and we'll talk around that more. But yeah, guys, there's no condemnation. I'm not going to tell you at any stage in this video that you must tithe and that you're backsliding and you're the worst kind of person if you don't, okay? That's not what this video is for. But what I am going to do is probably end up challenging you. So stay with me to the end, guys. So let's go straight to the word. What does the Bible say about tithing? So Deuteronomy 12:11, then to the place that the Lord your God will choose as a dwelling for his name. There you are to bring everything I command you, your burnt offerings and sacrifices, your tithes and your special gifts, and all choice possessions that you have vowed to the Lord. So let's start with the types of giving that I talked about here. We can see 3 main types or categories of giving. You've got sacrifice offerings, tithes, and gifts and choice possessions, 2 of which, tithes and offerings, remain today. We talked about these at the beginning of the video. And we know that sacrifice offerings have been officially retired, thank God, since Jesus did what he did on the cross. There's no need for us to bring a baby ox or sacrifice 5 lambs on a bloody altar every time we watch too much Keeping Up with the Kardashians on Netflix, okay? It's okay. But 2 things are obvious. Firstly, there's a difference between gift offerings and tithes. Secondly, the tithe is an Old Testament command, specifically to the Old Testament Israelites. And the Israelites were the group of people who left Egypt and were wandering in the desert and finally found Canaan. Well, God led them to Canaan. So what did God command the Israelites to do in the Old Testament as it relates to tithes? We can see this in a few places in the Bible. The first is Numbers 18. It says that the Lord said, I myself have put you in charge of offerings presented to me. All of the holy offerings that the Israelites give to me, I give to you and your sons as your portion, your perpetual share. Whether grain or sin or guilt offerings, that part belongs to you and your sons. This is also yours. Whatever is set aside from the gifts of all of the wave offerings of the Israelites, I give to you and your sons and daughters as your perpetual share. I give you all of the finest olive oil and all of the finest new wine and grain they give to the Lord as first fruits of their harvest. All of the land's first fruits that they bring to the Lord will be yours. Everyone in your household who is ceremonially clean may eat it. The Lord said to Aaron, you will have no inheritance in their land, nor will you have any share among them. I am your share and your inheritance among the Israelites. I give to the Levites all the tithes of Israel as their inheritance in return for the work that they do while serving at the tent of meeting. So a quick bit of Bible history for you guys. Aaron was Moses' older brother and they were both from the tribe of Levi. Remember, there were 12 tribes of Israel and the Levites were set apart from the rest of the other tribes of God to carry out certain duties. One of them being to carry the Ark of the Covenant wherever they went and to stand before the Lord and to minister and pronounce blessings to the rest of Israel. So when it came to giving the Israelites a promised land of Canaan and dividing it up between them, because they will each get their kind of allotment of land God was like, hey, Levites, about your inheritance. Yeah, so you ain't going to get a specific portion of land per se. Your inheritance is me, the Lord himself, which is amazing. Okay, their inheritance was spiritual, not physical. But God still took care of them in a special way materially. And part of that was the commandment that he gave to the Israelites to give 1/10 of all of their first fruits. So back then, there were no like office jobs and wages per se. Their resources was the grain that they grew, the fruits from their harvest, their sheep, their herds, their flocks, their wine, their olive oil. And God said to the Israelites, give me that. And then he said to the Levites, you guys take from that 10% a share to basically take care of yourselves and tide yourselves over day to day. That was how God took care of the Levites in return for them not having an inheritance of land in Canaan and for doing their services to the Lord. And we see this in Deuteronomy 14:27 also. It says, do not neglect the Levites living in your towns. So this was after God gave them the land. For they have no allotment, they have no inheritance of their own, because the Lord was their inheritance. At the end of every 3 years, bring all of the tithes of that year's produce and store it in your towns, so that the Levites, who have no allotment or no inheritance of their own, and foreigners, so God also took care of the foreigners and the fatherless and the widows who live in your towns, may come and eat and be satisfied, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all of the work of your hands. So that's what was going on there, guys. We can see in the Old Testament that it was God's way of supporting the Levites specifically, who didn't have any land or physical inheritance. Essentially, it was a form of tax on the other tribes of Israel who had land to grow and produce to support the Levites. So fast forward to today, a few things have changed, haven't they? Obviously, we're not Israelites, okay? I'm not a Jewish person, I'm not a Jewish man. And we don't have a tribe of Levites, even in Jerusalem, in Israel right now. They might be able to trace back their tribal ancestry, but we don't have a tribe of Levites around us without land and possessions, and therefore there's no commandment. This commandment was meant for a specific period in time, in a specific context that doesn't apply now. Based solely on what the Bible says about this topic, whether you choose to give a tithe or not nowadays is optional in this day and time. Like with many other things, it's a heart issue on whether you feel convicted or not to give. Now here comes a challenge that I promised earlier. Tithing has nothing to do with giving God money. He doesn't need it, believe it or not, okay? He's not going to take it and spend it on a holiday or some new sandals or some Bitcoin. Everything on the earth, including your money, okay? Believe it, already belongs to God. So if you're giving a tithe to God, you're not giving it to him because you have to or because he needs it or even to get something out of it. You're giving it to actually benefit yourself. It's teaching you and me, because I give it, I choose to give it a good few things, and it's making us more like God in the process. Let me explain. So right now you might be thinking, come on, Warren, paying 10%, a whole 10% of my money is taking money away from me. That's simple maths. Don't be silly. It's not giving me anything. I actually have less money after doing that. But trust me on this one. On a practical level, he's teaching us really transferable stewardship and management skills. He's teaching us obedience, faithfulness, consistency, guys, consistency, and so many other things that I could expand upon. But let's shine a quick spotlight on consistency. That's almost a swear word in our culture, in our generation. Some of us can't even go to bed consistently on time. Some of us can't consistently exercise. Some of us can't consistently eat a portion of fruit and vegetables per day. We can't consistently eat the food that we should to keep us healthy. People are going to be triggered by this and maybe leave me some hate comments down below. But I'm keeping it real with you guys. Consistency is rare in our culture. But God is asking, can you consistently give 10%? That already belongs to me, by the way. And again, he doesn't need the money. He's doing it to understand your heart. He's doing it to improve you and to make you more like him in the process. All of those qualities, those practical skills and also spiritual skills, he's doing it to shape us, guys, and to benefit us. And why 10%? Well, I don't know why it's specifically 10% and not 7% or 12% or 20%. But what I do know is that God is watching us and he's saying, if you can manage 10% faithfully, you can be trusted with the other 90% and potentially more. And no, tithing is not a formula to get more money from God. He's not a slot machine. We shouldn't give with the expectation of getting something back. This isn't prosperity gospel nonsense, guys. I'm not sitting here saying that if you tithe, God will give you a salary increase tonight, and a divine cloud is going to follow you all day tomorrow and rain £50 notes on you for 24 hours. But what I can say, in my own life, employment has never been an issue. And I'm a contractor, by the way, so it's peak. Every 6 months, I'm looking for a new job. Every 6 months, I can potentially have a gap in my earnings. I earn 3 times more now than when I did when I started in banking just over 10 years ago. And I own 4 houses. That's just my personal testimony. This isn't going to happen for everyone. I know that. You know that. But I do believe, I believe it within my heart, that it's linked to the fact that I choose to give a tithe consistently with the right heart. With the right heart, that's the important part, guys. I really do believe that. So let me tell you about my journey with tithing very quickly. I'll be 100% honest with you. I didn't start tithing consistently until I was about 25, 26. Why? Well, because I didn't have to. It's optional. I never felt convicted at all before then. I didn't feel bad about it, I'll be honest with you guys. And it wasn't something that my church spoke on a lot at the time. I was happy living at a comfortable level of giving. Nothing that would make me feel too put out or get in the way of me buying the things that I wanted for that particular month. And I don't know if anyone else can identify with that. Let me know in the comments below. But I started paying my tithe when I heard someone say, the level that you give now is exactly the same level that you will give when you get wealthier. Take a breath. Message! Because giving, as we said, is not about how much money you have or even how much you give. It's about your heart. If you're stingy now, you're going to be stingy when you're a millionaire. And I was like, rah, I got plans to be a millionaire and I don't want to be a stingy millionaire. So if I'm giving the least I can now, as comfortably as I can now, trust me, I'm going to find it hard to do it when I've got my hands on £1 million. I'm going to want to give that away even less than I do my little wage now. So from that point onwards, guys, I started tithing. I started to give beyond a level that just made me comfortable. And, you know, as I said, here I am now. I own 3 times more than I did when I started in this career, and I own 4 houses. And by the way, guys, I really want to give you a tip of the day. Prioritize your bills, your childcare costs, your debts if you have them. I'm pretty confident that God does not want you to be homeless or living in the dark without electricity and the internet, or maybe the internet is a luxury, at the cost of giving. So do it wisely, get financially stable, and then pay your tithe is what I personally recommend. The Bible's pretty clear on, you know, being in debt. If you can pay your debts and still give, absolutely go for that. That's what I personally did when I was in debt. I didn't give a full 10% of my tithe. I gave what I could, and when I was out of it, I raised it to 10% and beyond sometimes, depending on the season. So that is my 15 minutes on tithing. Go off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of tithing. I'm really interested to hear, you know, how people give really and what their views are on tithing. Like and share this with a friend if you found it useful, and I'll see you guys next week.